What's up, everybody? It's Polish Pete. We're out on location today. For once, this is nice. It's nice and warm. In fact, it's too warm. It's like 90 degrees today. We're out fishing on Lake Minnetonka, and we're in a really tough time of year to be out on the water as an angler, because you have 3 phases of the spawn going on at one time. And I know that to a lot of anglers, that sounds like the perfect time. But I prefer, and I think most anglers prefer, that pre-spawn time when it's just super easy to know I could throw moving baits till I find them and slow down and catch them with just about anything I wanted. But you get to this time of year and finesse fishing already starts to become a big factor. It really shines in those late summer months when water temps are real high and those fish can be overpressured by that time of year and kind of grouped up and in offshore situations. But this time of year already, we're starting to rely on finesse fishing tactics to start catching our fish. Probably the most common one is the wacky rig, right? So I just have a hook here. This is a hook from, actually this is a new VMC Redline here, I believe. But I got my little hook on here, just tied to fluorocarbon leader and a braid and braid. But I run a ring, and a little tip on this, I've started to run smaller VMC crossover rings than recommended. I've been running the 5 mils now. They hold on way better. They last way longer. It doesn't break the worm. In fact, I think it's given it a little bit of extra action. I've enjoyed fishing it that way. But I'm just going to hook that worm in the middle. Like I said, using those VMC crossover rings, these things are slick because I can hook through the ring instead of hooking through my worm. And it keeps the hook in the right direction and everything. Real big fan of these so far. And why they call them a crossover ring is I can switch up if I want to go to the ever famous Nico rig. So a Nico rig, now I've got, this is a little mini magic worm, a little mini magic worm from Missile Baits. And I'm going to hook this thing on the outside here going up, hence the crossover. I can hook it in 2 different directions here. I'm going to take a little tungsten nail weight here. And I do recommend you try the tungsten ones if you're new to Nico rigging. You're going to punch that in the nose. And one of the little tricks I learned from some of the Japanese anglers was leave a little teeny piece of it exposed. And you can feel a lot of what's going on the bottom sometimes with that. So that's pretty cool, actually. You can actually feel it kind of contact the bottom and feel if you're around hard bottom. But if you see there, this Nico rig is going to make this worm sink a little bit faster and have a little bit different action as I fish it down lower in the water column. Now, the 2 ways I look at these 2 techniques is if I think the fish are anywhere in the water column from up high to down deep, whether it's on an inside weed line, an outside weed line, around docks, anything like that, I'm going to let this 5-inch wacky rig do the trick. Whether it's a General like this one here or the Yamamoto Senko, I'm going to let this fish the whole water column for me. Because I don't know what's going on. I don't know if the fish are holding hard to the bottom. I don't know where they are in the water column. They're actively feeding on bluegills, and this tends to get bit quite a bit. Now, if I know those fish are holding on certain cover, if I know they're down there on the bottom, at the bottom of a brush pile, let's say, or if they are, on some boulders, or they're at the bottom of some milfoil on the weed edges or hard bottom transitions, then I'm gonna throw this Nico rig so it'll sink down into that location. The 3rd option in finesse fishing that's most popular is the ever famous drop shot, which obviously would just have a tag end coming down here with a little weight on the end. Everybody's pretty familiar with the drop shot by now. And the drop shot would be, for me, when I know I'm fishing deeper water. If I'm fishing anything deeper than, let's say, even 6-7 foot of water, I'm gonna switch to that drop shot to get my bait in the target zone a little faster and cover water a little quicker with that drop shot than I would with, let's say, this Nico rig or the wacky rig. When I have these 2 on, I'm fishing an area and I'm picking apart a little bit slower. When I'm fishing a drop shot in these months, I'm kind of covering, I'm casting it out a little further, I'm letting it get down to the bottom in the target zone, and I'm fishing around, covering a little bit more water with it faster. Now, obviously, all 3 of them will work if you really downsize your line and really key in on a spot where the fish are. Sometimes on a bed, a drop shot can be key. Hence why all 3 of these techniques are important to have with you at all time: the drop shot, the wacky rig, and the Nico rig. So next time you're finesse fishing, if you don't know where they are and you don't know where they are in the water column, if you're fishing shallow, throw a wacky rig around. If you're fishing deep, throw a drop shot around. If they ain't biting either, try a Nico rig.